So I did get it functioning. I'm in the process of like working out the bugs, and I want to make the interface look nicer and be able to save and load, to add features to it. But it is functional now. Uh, for my testing, I just have one piece of food right next to another machine, and the machine is very simple. And to visualize all the machine does, this is what all the machines do in general. They're just a bunch of, and if you were to show them in a symbolic form, it's just a bunch of circles with connected by lines. And all this translates to is the way the starter machine works is it looks ahead. It can look 5 units ahead, um, and it just looks for any food in front of it. Then if there aren't any, then it rotates left, and then it looks for any food to the left, 5 units ahead. And if there isn't any, turns it rotates left again. And then the same thing if it doesn't see any food that time, and then it rotates left. And once it rotates an entire 360 after it's looked all the way around it and it doesn't see any food, then it moves left 1 square. So yeah, so that's what this does. Um, like it puts, I put like an A, B, C, or D to the left of it. I don't need to get into the details here, but this is basically a theoretical computer that's capable of doing anything. The circles and the lines allow it to do anything. So I just made this one myself and I put it as a starter. So I'm trying to see if it's capable of becoming more advanced from just the starting point. So I'm loading it, and I'm making like a 200 by 200 grid. I did put the zoom in and zoom out option. All right. So right now, this little black dot here, I can zoom in actually a little bit more. All right. This little black dot here is the machine, the starter machine, and this red dot is the food. So when I click on the food, it says there's like 100 amount of food. And here's the machine, and this tells you some information. Like right now, it's facing north. And if you were to express those circles and lines in the what I just showed you, if you were to express that graph into symbolic form, this is how I have it encoded. Um, so now I'm gonna push this button here. This advances time ahead 1 unit. So now it's facing west, right here. Um, and at this point, now it's going to notice that directly ahead of it is some food, and then it's going to start walking toward it. See how it walked toward it there? Yeah, and this is what it took for input. Basically, it saw that there was food 2 units ahead, and then its response was to move forward. And I'm having it record all of the moves on the entire map, and there's only 1 unit on the map currently. What's going to happen here is this thing's going to start eating this food. That was the next option. So now that it's at the food, um, which means F, um, yeah, F followed by the end. There's nothing after the F, so it just goes right to the A command, which is eat. So there's gonna be a appear here for now that we're seeing the eat operation right here, eat, and you see after it ate once. That shrinked the amount of food here to 950. It was 1,000, and that 50 units went to energy for this creature here. Now, the way I have it coded is once this food disappears, once it's gone, whoever ate the last morsel of food there, they're the ones that are gonna get reproduce, and I have it coded to create 20 copies of themselves with a chance of a mutation. Um, I'm going to zoom out because I'll just now it's at 700. I'm kind of going through it until the food is gone. Then you're going to see a bunch of these guys up here. Yep. So there you go. Now there is a bunch of the copies, and you see um, a lot of them are black in color, but some are not. Like this one, and this one's another one that's not black. So the way I have it work is, in the event that they mutate, I have them changed to a different color. So some of these are the code is slightly different. So like this one of the states became unfinalized. That means like one of these two basically. You see how they have two circles around it? Well, it took one of the circles off of one of these two. Uh, and there's only one that's the only one that has a double circle is this 6. So in that particular mutation, it took the double circle off of this one, which means what that's going to do is cause it to crash and not actually return a value when it reaches this. So basically, it took away its ability to rotate. So it can't rotate anymore because of that mutation, that particular one. All I can do now is um, move forward. If there's ever any food that appeared right in front of it, it would know enough to move forward and eat it. But it did lose its ability to uh, rotate because of that mutation. So most mutations are going to be detrimental. But the idea is every now and then there should be one that um, is beneficial. So I'm gonna go jump ahead. Actually, let's go. Let's try stepping through slowly, and we can watch this. So you see how they're most of them are moving left because that's all they can do. But this is interesting right here. See that? It's it's moving downward. Um, it's behaving a little differently. It's moving down a few times and then left. So it's a behavior change. Now, if this behavior change were to ever be an improvement as far as it being better at um, reproducing, that'll stick around. But what's going to happen though, as you can see, there's no food. Any of those red squares is food. There's no food on the map. You're going to get a lot of food when these creatures start dying. Um, and then maybe the ones that are still alive will be able to get to some of that food. And then this thing will take off. But it's from what I've seen in the testing, it happens maybe in this particular situation. It happens like a third of the time, I think, where it really takes off. Other times, they just go, they'll die off. It doesn't go anywhere. But I can fast forward this a little bit. Yep. So this one took off. This one has a. See that they actually they spread it out around the map pretty fast. But the flaw um, the flaw that I'm seeing as a starter is that you notice that they aren't. A lot of them are in a line and they aren't moving. Um, they're just in a line and they're just frozen. And you can see why. Here, you see why, and I click on one of them. So their last input. So this one is facing north. Um, when you look 5 units ahead, there's a machine 2 units ahead, and then 3 units ahead, and then another one 5 units ahead, and that's what this is telling it. 2 units ahead, 3 units ahead, 5 units ahead. There's a machine in it. That's what we're telling it with input, but um, because there is no code here. There's no use anywhere in this machine. Um, so it doesn't know how to. It doesn't know what to do when it sees another machine, another black or whatever, another or organism. It doesn't have any instructions on how to handle that. So what it ends up doing is just not doing anything. So I'm noticing that a lot with the test. Now I can easily make a machine that is coded to attack, and if you see another machine, either run away or attack. I can easily code that in. But what I would like to see happen is um, them to learn on their own to attack. Um, so we can go 1,000 at a time and watch. I'm gonna zoom out. So there's a lot of um, I'm having it keep track of the number of consecutive mutations, and um, if you start out with the black color, then they have a mutation, and then that one manages to survive, and they have offspring that has mutation. I'm keeping track of the consecutive living organisms and how many mutations, consecutive mutations that they have. Um, you can see here that throughout the history of the world here, there's been 48 cases where, um, because of a mutation, they developed the ability to try to use the attack command, but it probably didn't do anything because it's only going to be useful if they use the attack command when one of these creatures is directly in front of them. When it's not directly in front of them, I have it so they lose a little bit of energy. Um, so it's better to actually attack something, and it's some code that needs to be generated. Um, it needs to stumble onto that, um, and if one of these guys can stumble onto that, um, if one of these machines can get configured in such a way where they know to attack another organism if it's right in front of them, that would be a huge improvement because a lot of these machines are just frozen and they can't move, and that they would be easy pickings for any machine that learned how to attack. Um, and then I would think if they learned how to attack, you would see all of these black squares disappear like really fast. I mean, they would not be around very long if all they because the way they're coded right now, if they see another organism, they just freeze and they don't do anything. There's a new, so that any enemy that or any organism that knows how to attack could wipe these guys out easily. Yeah, so I'm having during my uh, during my testing, I'm having it just show the stats of each individual machine. I fixed a few bugs already. When I first started this, I didn't have a limit. I had no limit on how much food could be on the map. And then what was happening in the beginning was they were they were dying very quickly and turning into food. But then they were eating it, and then there was the mutation stuff wasn't working either at the time. But they, the whole place got filled up with food basically, and there was nowhere to spawn new ones, and then they all went extinct. Then there was another time where I put a cap on the amount of active food. I have it at like 200, I think, or maybe 400, and then I let that run for a while. And then what happened that time when there ended up being like two clumps of food on the map, and then eventually, whenever a new creature spawned, they just wouldn't be able to find any food, and then they all went extinct. But this, once I got the mutations working, I fixed a few more bugs, and it seems to be a lot more stable. Uh, yeah, so I don't know. It would be neat to. I still got to put more options in. Like I want the ability to save your progress. Let's say you let this run for 8 hours or something. I haven't let it run very long, but if you let it run for a long time, I want to be able to save it, and then you can resume. And another thing, here I'll turn one of these off. If I see a really good improvement, um, like if I see a really good improvement on one of these machines, what I could do is I could take this code up here, and I can use that code to set up a whole new environment and put the machine in that environment. Or I can grab a few of them and have them start over. And so that might be something that I do later. Once this thing's developed, I'll be able to um, take the best ones and move them to another world. I can. Um, there's still a few objects that I didn't. There's a regular. There's objects I can put in this world too that they should have the ability to push and pull these objects and maybe make structures with them or something. And there's another thing called like global memory, which gives them the ability to store memory that they can grab later or send. They can use the memory, have the send transmissions maybe. There's a lot of commands. You see them listed here, how many times each command has ever been run. So you can see that they're randomly stumbling on the commands. Um, Now, what I would imagine the progression of advancement when these machines, uh, I would expect them to be able to. No, I would expect that they would become good at attacking. They got to develop that, and they got to in this rest option know when that it's not worth running around resting, knowing when to move backwards might be a time to do that. Uh, Memory save, that's like individual memory. That's where they would be really advanced if they could figure that out. Find a way to. Because all I have it is the way I have it is you have the M command followed by some string of letters, one of these lowercase letters here, followed by some other character, followed by some more of these letters, and then if you use the um, this memory save command to save some data, and then later use this memory load command. Let's say I did like MAA, and then I stored some information like um, um, there's something behind you. Okay, like you store some information that's going to mean there's something behind you. Maybe it can be A. Maybe A will mean there's something behind you. Then you rotate, and then later it uses the V, and then it uses A, and then it retrieves the data A, and it remembers, it associates the A with there's something behind you, and then it doesn't have to rotate again to figure out there's something behind it again. So it would have to develop its own file system. Uh, that would have to be something developed on its own. But if it could figure out how to save and load, that would that would be one way it could learn, not just not just become better at surviving as a species, but individually learn and maybe then become intelligent. That's what it would take. Either by using this memory, it's kind of like a short-term memory kind of too that they have. Well, anything to the left of this, um, anything to the left, I have a where the tape starts. When they're given some memory, uh, wherever it starts, anything to the left, I keep that there between one turn and another. So they have the ability to store whatever they want on this side, and that'll save into the next unit of time. So they could put much stuff there to remember as well. Like this one, it starts out with a blank slate, and it puts an A, puts an A behind it, and then it moves back forward again, and then it says, okay, now I want to rotate left. Now, if I were to put AE, well, it can't. I don't think I can simulate it on here because I can't control where the thing starts. Yeah, if I was capable of moving, I don't think it lets me change um, the starting location. If I could put the starting location on E, it starts off on E, and then it moves back one and says okay, and then you would see that it decides to rotate left. Basically, going through one step of these guys. Um, but what I'm looking for is a mutation where um, something really big happens. And there's a bunch of mutations out there. You see lots of different colors. I'd like to see all these black disappear and get a whole new color, just from it being so much better than just drive all these black ones out. Uh, yep. So, and that's what I want to do basically. And it can learn how to eat, or it can learn how to attack and stuff. I wouldn't even teach it how to attack. It'll learn that on its own. That's what I'm trying to get started here. Anyway, this is what it looks like.